a little teary-eyed, but we wanted you guys to know. Some people have been asking, so um, that's where we are with that right now. So she's on a little bit of a hiatus. When she's ready to come back, she's definitely welcome. But in the interim, we will be having a few special co-host guests over the next several weeks. So look forward to that. That ought to be a lot of fun. We're going to start it off next week with a beautiful, vivacious, absolutely simply gorgeous co-host that will be joining us. Miss Casey Carter, the goddess herself, will be joining us next Monday night. So make sure you tune in for Casey to join us. It's going to be a great show. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk to this beautiful woman who is not only gorgeous, but super duper intelligent. And we're going to pick her brain and we're going to talk about all kinds of different things next week. So join us next Monday night as we have a special co host in the house with us. This Miss Casey Carter will be joining us. Um, can you mute Purple Rain? We're getting a lot of background noise until you get in. Yeah, there we go. So the topic is grab bag tonight. We do grab bag usually about every fourth week. And what that is it's an opportunity for you guys to ask us questions, or we can talk about, current topics or something that's on our minds, and just have some fun, relaxed conversation. You don't necessarily have to take out your pen and paper for tonight, so that's kind of nice. But we like to have a little fun with it, and we talk about things that are maybe near and dear to our heart, and some stuff that maybe we've seen during the week, and hope that you guys can ask us some questions. And anything goes, tonight. If you ask us a question, we will answer to the best of our ability. And you get a pass. You don't have to stay in the corner too long, but so anything goes tonight. This is grab bag. So we're kind of getting back up to speed. And Lorenzo said, "You believe you know her?" Okay, yeah. She's an acquaintance of yours. Yeah, you guys go way back. She's going to be in the house next week. It's going to be fun. We're going to have a great time with her. I'm actually returning the favor. If you guys have not had the opportunity to tune into her show, I was on her show a few weeks back. So we are now having her over here. So it should be a lot of fun. I had a great time with her, and I can't wait to have her join us. So that's Miss Casey Carter. The goddess herself will be in the house with us next week. So I'll start it off, as I know Purple Rain is getting herself settled. She had just got off work. She was driving, and now I believe she's probably made it to her home and gonna come back in when she's settled. So I'm going to kind of start it off a little bit. I wanted to talk about, and I know that Purple Rain and I were talking a little bit about this earlier this week, but only because this came up again in my car today and yesterday. So this topic must be like a hot thing or something along those lines. But we were talking about self-esteem. We were talking about women's self-esteem, and where self-esteem actually kind of comes from. And fellas, you can chime in as well, because I'm sure that self-esteem also affects our men. So we don't want to discriminate. We're going to, of course, I'm going to talk from the female side of the house, but self-esteem seems to be something that is being damaged. I feel a lot more nowadays, with of course, the internet, everybody being bombarded by imagery, and some people have are like ducks. Some people are like ducks, and they let the water. They just let whatever anybody has to say just roll off of them. And they have this confidence, and they're very secure in who they are. And then there are other people that are out here that want to, you know, bring down that confidence. They want to subject someone to the bullying that goes on, not only just on the internet, but also in person. And I think the internet is great for a lot of things, but unfortunately, you do expose yourself if you are on here, if you are an influencer, if you take a lot of what people say to heart. If maybe you're not as strong when it comes to criticism, maybe you take it very, very personally, instead of taking it as a way to improve yourself, or if it's just if it's criticism that just doesn't, you know, do anything for you, just ignore it. But a lot of people nowadays are getting to the point, especially our younger folk, where they're actually taking their own lives. Whether they're very insecure, they're very not. I don't want to say insecure, but I would rather say that they are maybe not as strong-willed in some areas as they maybe possibly could be. Um, and I think a lot of people are looking for some kind of validation as well. And the validation is the part that fails when somebody says something negative, or somebody makes a comment about a person, that they don't perceive as a positive comment. Um, so I know Purple Rain, we were talking about this earlier, and I just,
Mhm.
you know, this has popped up in my car twice since we talked about it.
Oh,
I
wow.
talked about it today in the car, and I talked about it yesterday in the car. So since we kind of just touched on it, um, we were talking about self-esteem, um,
Mhm.
and not so much that it's necessarily self-esteem, but that, or not, I shouldn't say self-esteem. I shouldn't, it's not so much insecurity as it is, um, people are being just bullied, I think,
I think so too.
a lot more.
Um, but again, it a lot of it when it comes, at least for me, in my opinion, when it comes to self-esteem, people's original self-esteem, people that might not necessarily show confidence as adults and throughout their life, like, because some people, just have a history of not having self-confidence or self-esteem. And when it's that case of, all of a sudden not all of a sudden feeling not the prettiest, not the most confident, things like that. Um, when it's always been around in your adulthood, you've always had your head low, you've never felt pretty, you've never felt like you deserve to be in the room. It comes from your environment growing up. Some people have great self-esteem and let things fall off their back because they had parents that um told them every day they were beautiful, no matter what they looked like. And they just were nurtured in a way that no matter what anybody ever says about them, that they are beautiful. And those people tend to go into adulthood and carry themselves that way. Whereas others could be gorgeous and not be as confident in who they are, and it shows in their personality because they were told the opposite by the people that were supposed to love and care for them.
And in addition to that, I would like to add that there are also people that take what is put out on social media, what is put out in the
Yeah,
media,
well,
as quote unquote the gospel. Um, we talked about we you and I and even the people in the car that I was with, we've talked about the fashion industry, how for so many years they did not recognize just a size 12 was fat, was obese, um,
Yeah.
which a lot of women are not a size 2 or 4 or even a 6 or a 8. They're just not. A lot of women are the size 14 and up if we're going
Yeah.
by the dress sizes. Um, the sizing chart.
Marilyn Monroe was a 14. People don't know that.
Right, right. And she was considered, even though
Chunky.
even though she was gorgeous and beautiful, but she
She
was
was curvy. Nobody liked it.
nobody wanted that.
Um, Now I do agree that social media, the fashion industry, and all things that are put in our face have something to do with that. But again, what I was trying to say was when you have that rearing or that nurturing, that's the opposite of what you need, and then you have all of that other stuff on top of it, doesn't make it easy. Um, it took a lot for me to. I know you probably remember when you first met me, I wasn't as confident as I am now.
Mhm.
And a lot of it had to do with because as a child, I was told that just because you light skinned, you ain't pretty. Oh, you think you cute because you light skinned because you lighter than the rest of your cousins? Oh, you think because you got long hair, you cuter than the rest of your cousins? Did you forget you was fat? You can't be pretty and fat. They don't go. And then you have the industry bombarding you with imagery that says you have to be this size, you have to look like this. And then being a black woman and a fair skinned black woman, being told by the industry that you are better than your dark skinned counterparts. And but then your dark skinned counterparts are the ones telling you no, you ain't. And it's not that you want to be better than them, you want to be equal to them. Like for me, people used to laugh at me all the time, but I always say I love me a chocolate girl. I love me a chocolate man. Um, I and it was my insecurities growing up about my looks and how I was teased for being light skinned and pretty, being able to pass a brown paper bag test that made me seek out chocolate men so that my children would be brown skinned because I understood genetics. I understood how that shit worked. My father had a smart child. Hi babies. Hi little sister. So it took me a long time. I was probably about 30 before I started letting water fall off my back like that.
And
Um,
I was going to say, and there's a lot of folks that unfortunately, like we said, because of what we're looking at, what we're bombarded with, what we see, and then that's on top of what's going on behind the scenes, maybe at home, maybe someone that you look up to is telling you, like a coach. Like I worked in the dance. I was in, I was a trained dancer with the Cleveland Institute of Ballet and the Cleveland Institute of Modern Dance. I
mhm.
I actually had a teacher when I was in a teenager. Thank God I did not listen to her. Um, but she was always talking about, because I was thick, I was curvy, I was the only black student in the class, I was excelling at what I could do. And to have her talk about, she was always on a diet, but she was always eating something like she was supposed to be teaching. But she had the audacity to tell me about myself, and I never saw her do anything. But anyway, um, the validation that I got was, we had a workshop and a troupe came in. And for those of you that understand this genre that I'm talking about, a troupe comes in for the weekend, they perform and they do workshops, and you pay to be in the workshops to learn from dancers like from New York and London and all over the world. So I have been trained with some pretty spectacular
I trained with
um,
Debbie, so I understand.
dancers. And at this one particular time, This troupe came, they performed at John Carroll University, and the lead broke his toe in practice. So he was not able to perform until the very last, he did a solo. He did it in pain, but he did it. And the next day, of course, he was on crutches and everything else, so he was not able to teach the workshop. So long story short, we get into the workshop. There's all kinds of people. I am the youngest in the workshop. My teacher had recommended me not to be in the workshop. I should not be there. I should not be in that class. My mother did not listen and put me in this workshop. We're doing combinations, and we do a combination, and I'm in the last group. In this group, there was a beautiful Oriental woman, just absolutely stunning, and I thought she was like the best dancer ever. And so we're going across the floor. It's her, me, and another young lady. We're the last group to do this combination. There's only 3 of us, and this guy who taught the combination starts going absolutely ballistic. That's it. That's what I wanted to see. That's how it's supposed to be done. That's it. And he was making such a ruckus that the parents and people came from the waiting area into the studio trying to figure out what he was doing, what was going on. And so I turn around and I'm looking at the young lady that I thought he was talking about. And I'm like telling her, "Oh my God, he really loved you and you did a great job and blah, blah, blah." And she told me politely, "He's not talking about me. He's talking to you." My mouth. Like, I turned back around. You, come here, you. And I'm like looking back, no, you know. I'm like, okay. So I step forward and he goes, "Do it again. Show him how it's done." And he put the music on. I did it again. And he was still praising me after everything was over and everybody saw it and they clapped. And I was like, okay. I mean, I didn't think the combination was that hard, but okay. So when everything was said and done, they invited me to come to New York to dance. This is one thing I did not get to do in my life, and I wish I could have, but I kinda knew my father, and his daughter leaving and living with another family in another state was not gonna happen, so I knew that was gonna be a wash, but it was just the thought that it was possible, and they talked to my mother afterwards and all this kind of stuff, and the funniest thing is my teacher tried to take some credit, and my mother's like, "She's taught her nothing." Nothing. And they didn't care about my size, they didn't care about anything. I was very, uh, I was very good at what I did, and I've never forgotten that, but she would have talked me out of being in that moment, even though I didn't get a chance to take the moment, um, to know that I was offered that moment and I did not listen to her made a world of difference in my life. And a lot of people, we tend to listen to people that we look up to or that are our instructors, um, things things that or people that we just respect, I guess. And we take what they say as the gospel.
Mm-hmm.
My mother intentionally chose dark men to get darker babies. Okay. It took a long, Robert States said it took a long time for me to be confident as well.
Yeah. I used to dance too, and that was one of the things that gave me my confidence growing up, even if it was like for a short period of time. My dance teacher was a plus size woman. So I had been told early on that I would never do ballet because of my size. And I didn't. I ended up doing modern.
Hmm.
But it was because of my dance teacher Mind you, she was about 5'6", and she was all of maybe 350. But that woman could move her ass. And she was the best, to me, the best dance teacher in all of Chicago. To the point where we were so close that when my mom moved here and they were moving us here to Indiana, I begged to live with her because I wanted to keep dancing and training. She got me in front of, like, the short time that I was in Chicago dancing, she had got me in front of Alvin Ailey Dance Company, which at the time was being mentored and taught by Debbie Allen. Um, and
She wrote.
and being in front of that company alone with all of the curvy black women, yes, those women were still kind of small, but they were small for black women. You know what I'm saying? They were still curvy, they were still shapely, they looked like me. Um, and it gave me confidence in my skills and my abilities. Um, so yeah, I definitely get where you're coming from, but when we see ourselves doing what we do, or we get the praise that we're supposed to get, and sometimes those praises come from outside sources,
Mhm.
it kind of contradicts what was told to us by the people that are supposed to be giving us those compliments.
And a lot of times, as you know, you just you never know who's going to step into your life, and you never know what impression, no matter how big or small, in how long lasting it will be. On the flip side of this, being a competitive baton twirler for most of my childhood, from the time I was 5 until I was 17, I competed. I started competing at 6. I started taking lessons at 5. Um, and understanding that I was like pretty much, as I got better at it, because my mother was not going to spend all that money and I wasn't going to be good. So as I got better at it, I was the only black kid out there at an advanced level. Um, but it came to it, I got to see prejudice up close and personal. But I also had a friend that I lost way back then. Um, and I didn't know anything about, because you know, you didn't really talk about the silent killer of anorexia or bulimia. You didn't talk about that. But I had a friend, she was absolutely gorgeous, absolutely beautiful, blonde haired, blue eyed, petite, but thought that she was not all that, was not pretty, was not, she was too fat, she was too this, because they were on her about a weight standard that she didn't need to be on. Um,
Yeah.
Same thing with when I went to college. You know, they did the calipers on the girls to see their body fat. They had, these girls were not eating to make weight so that they could cheer at a football game or at a basketball game. They had to make weight. They had to get weighed in. They would be in the sauna trying to lose water weight. They would just, I mean, they were doing all kinds of crazy things.
Trash bags, running laps.
Walking, wearing sauna suits, passing out, don't eat, don't drink, don't, gotta make weight. It was
just,
crazy.
just to be in front of a crowd.
It was crazy. So a lot of this, the thought process that society is also inflicted on people that already are getting shamed or body shamed at home, or um, I remember being told, oh, you know, you put on some weight, baby, and then they give you 5-course meals at your grandmother's house. You need to finish everything on your plate. But you know,
My grandma was the first one to call me fat.
so you're like, you know, you need to finish everything on your plate. Okay, but my grandma, you know, our grandmothers, our grandmamas cook like a 10-course meal on Sunday. Okay, 10-course meal plus dessert. Okay, and appetizers and everything else. So stuff made with bacon grease. Okay, so Joel Bacon back in the day. Fried everything, and it's fried in bacon grease. So it was very hard to, you know,
I remember being in the kitchen with my grandma cooking chitlins, and I was just like, "Why are we eating this?"
mhm. But if you go back to slave days,
I know.
they ate everything. My father, like he said, they ate from the rooter to the tutor.
That's why
Everything.
I refuse to eat from the rooter to the tutor.
Pig's feet, pig tail, pig snout, pig. I'm like, what? But that's what they had. They had scraps and they made scraps. The slaves made scraps, had scraps, and they made the best of it. A lot of that kept them alive. It wasn't exactly the most healthiest of things, but
Right.
later on we find out. But back then, that's how they survived. And we make it taste good. We can make some greens taste good. So Robert says, listen to me, that weight thing is serious. My parents are telling me about losing weight, but then they kept asking me, I don't want this food. Do you want it? When I was younger, I'd eat it. Now I'm like, you can't have it both ways. You know what? I think we're better educated now on nutrition and on, like I said, we've talked about this before too, our physical health. We definitely, there's more of an interest in the physical health. Mental health is finally getting the recognition it needs to get, but our sexuality health, once again, we still way behind on that. But all these three things go together. um, your physical health also affects your mental health and affects your sexual health. Your
I agree.
your sexual health affects your mental health and your physical health. And your
I've
mental,
always been one that said when it comes to that, when a woman doesn't feel sexy about herself,
hmm
she can't proceed to make her man feel like she's sexy. So she can't be that sexual being in the bedroom that he wants her to be, that he sees her as when she doesn't see herself in that light.
right.
A lot of the times women downplay being intimate with their male partners because they don't see themselves how he sees them, especially after having kids.
hmm Oh yeah, stretch marks and
Stretch
um,
marks, walking around, but it shows in her outer appearance. She stops
mhm.
getting pretty. She stops doing her hair. She stops wearing sexy clothes. She stops wearing lingerie because all of a sudden she's a mom. Like a mom can't do that, but it's because she no longer feels sexy because she no longer looks the way she looked pre-baby.
And a lot of it also too. Once again, we're gonna go. We need to delve into society. You know, once again, we gotta talk about the fact that, ooh, you're a mom, so therefore you don't like sex anymore. All of a sudden, we've got um, a lot of double standards that are out there. We also know about those. We've talked about those before. The man is macho and the woman is a whore and everything else if she has multiple partners.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, If uh, we have it where I spoke to a gentleman. It was a gentleman that was in my car at one point. And we were talking about his relationship with his wife, and his wife is drop dead gorgeous. She's absolutely stunning. He showed me a picture of her. She's beautiful. And but he's like, I'm not getting it on the regular. I'm not getting blah blah blah, yada yada. And I'm like, okay. I said, but here's the thing. I said, let me tell you why not. She's a mom. I said, on top of that, you're bringing your children, you're allowing your children to be in the bed with y'all. Get your children out your bed. First of all, she needs to feel like there's a safe space. where the kids aren't going to come in. You got to, you showed me your house. You got a big, beautiful house. You got 5, 6 bedrooms. Why are your children in your room? Put your children where they belong, in their own room.
Exactly.
You got the house. They don't need to be in the bed. So why would she feel like having sex if she knows that the kids might walk in any second?
Because they feel free to do that on a regular basis.
Exactly. So she's not going to feel comfortable.
They don't have any boundaries about their privacy. I
Hmm.
get it, you're a parent, but there still has to be boundaries taught. Children need to learn how to knock on the door. Children need to know that just because you want me don't mean you can come bust in here anytime.
And then want to sleep in the bed with us.
Yeah,
So
no,
it's
no,
very,
no.
it's very difficult to be having marital relations or having sex.
If
And
my kids is right here, we
me
not doing
too.
it.
Well,
Why? They got their own beds.
so you gotta think a little outside of the box, and then women's mindsets do change as they become a mother. um we shift, we do change, we become more nurturing. We want to make sure that we're giving our children the best. I'm not saying that men don't want the same thing, but I'm just saying when it comes to um some of the things that we men don't think about that women think about, when you're putting letting the children come into the bedroom and they come in willy-nilly, it's not going down. You're not having a romantic night. It's not going to happen. And fellas, take the initiative. Take the initiative. Find a babysitter. So if your in-laws are close, or if your parents are close, I want to plan a weekend with my wife.
Yep. I have
You
a
don't.
client that comes to see me like every 3 weeks to get a haircut, right? Me and him were talking, and I asked him last week, I said, so what you got planned for this weekend? Because once a month, he gives the children to the in laws, and him and his wife go on a weekend vacation to the closest city: Cincinnati, Tennessee, Louisville, Kentucky. They take wherever with that is in the 2 to 3 hour drive. They don't
Hmm.
go far. They go away, spend all day. They leave Saturday morning, spend all day Saturday in that town or city, spend the night, come home Sunday morning.
And it
Once a
doesn't
month.
right, and it doesn't take a whole lot of.
And they have little ones. They got 2, 4, and 7.
Robert states, from the time children came, I was a secondhand citizen. She's a mom, so the children come first. So where does that leave me as the man? That leaves you helping her.
But at the same time, we can't treat our husbands as secondhand citizens. Yes, we are moms, and yes, our children come first. But our husbands come have to be taken care of too. Now, like she said, that means you help her with the children so that she can have free time to take care of you.
So when not everybody's mindset, the first thing, a lot of things that we don't do is from the beginning, we don't talk.
Nope.
So we don't know what her mind, if you don't know what her mindset was before you have children, you're going to find out after she has children. So now you're not prepared. um, but we don't have these conversations. Once again, we don't have the conversations about how we like to have sex. We don't have these conversations. This does not happen before we get married. It's not in the training manual. It's not in the churches. The priest is definitely not going to talk about it, and
That part.
we don't get in depth into what's going to happen. We don't do those kinds of things. We don't go to the sexuality coaches and talk to them prior to getting married, and get our sex lives in order. We just do it blindly. And then so what happens, we don't necessarily even talk about having children. We talk, or no, let me take that back. We talk about having children, but we don't really talk about what it entails, because we don't really know. And then you don't know when the hormones start to changing, and then this starts to happening, and how can I help? And she's like, get away from me. I get it, but you got to kind of, maybe you stick in there, maybe you don't. I don't know the situation, but I know one thing that does not always happen is a lot of communication. Um, sh- it says I'm sorry, can't speak freely. Typing is slow. He said made dates, etc. She put everybody and the kids and her own family before me. Um, she could have checked out. I mean, those are questions that have to be asked of her. Those are the questions that have to be, because some people do things not knowing, you know, not knowing initially that, am I hurting you, or they're doing what they've been indoctrinated to believe that they're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
I have a child, and as a woman, I'm mama bear. I'm a lioness. Um, I'm gonna whoop your ass over my child.
Yeah. I
Um,
broke up with a guy because he told me if my son, um, because he thinks that I coddled my son too much, that he was gonna get my son some sex by the time he was 13. No, sir. No, you're not. You're not about to groom my child because you think that's gonna make him a man. The fuck?
so a lot of times when you're in, and you have to look at, one of the things that I've learned in taking my courses is that we have to look at upbringing and religion and, uh, thought processes that maybe we didn't think about, before, or we didn't talk about before, but we need to talk about now. And, hindsight is one thing, but these are conversations that we have to sit down and have to find out, how can we maneuver around this, or how can we, what is your hard no, what is your soft no, what can we do to make this better. um the biggest question is, for some folks, is why did you get married in the first place?
That part.
Did you get married to get out the house? Did you get married so that somebody, you needed to feel loved? Did you get married just to get married? Did you get married because somebody has told you this is what you're supposed to do as a woman, or is this what you're supposed to do as a man? You know,
He said we got married very, very young, so I agree with the indoctrination. Being in the church and marrying as a virgin, yes, there was so little conversation.
yep. And then at some particular point in time, the communication breaks down,
Yeah,
and there is no communication. There's only assuming. So
I
until
agree.
until you have those conversations, until you actually, and in the moment, until you actually talk, and a lot of people, we don't do that. That's not taught in the church. Let's just be honest. It's just not. It's not taught there. It just isn't.
Amen to that.
This is why I love BDSM, because consent and communication is vital to the relationship. But also, consent and communication is vital to a vanilla relationship as well. And if you don't have it in either one of the relationships, you're in for a world of trouble. You're in for, some disappointing moments. So, anything else you want to talk about? I think we covered that pretty
I think
well.
we did too. Ooh, I liked it. I like that. I love when we do that stuff though. I don't know what y'all want to talk about. Ask us some questions. Y'all never want to be getting. Y'all never get personal with us. Y'all would think y'all would want to get to know your hostesses a little bit.
Oh Jesus. Oh Jesus. Look,
What?
and we gave Lorenzo a pass, and he's not asked us not one question. And
I
he got.
know, right?
And
Lorenzo,
he,
are you okay over there?
are you even there? Where are you, Lorenzo? Where are you? Come out and
Oh,
play.
you better be on the show the whole time next week with Miss Casey.
Oh, I know he will be. And we're not going to read one of your questions, not one. Mm-mm. Agreed, but it doesn't seem to be
Intrinsic in vanilla relationships. That is true, but it should be because more of those vanilla relationships would last
last. Yep.
if they just communicated.
The three C's: clear, concise communication.
But coming soon.
There you go. Oh, uh-oh. I think he came out the corner. He says,
No, my vampire gloves have holes in them.
question, what got y'all in what
Ooh,
got
I
y'all into
like that one. You want to go first or you want me to go first?
what got me into kink? I'll go first. The internet. Oh, wait a minute. So my first dom was in I didn't well for, we were talking back and forth for 6 months over Yahoo, chatting back and forth for 6 months.
That goes back, baby.
Whoa, way back. And that's kind of how I found out that I was a submissive. And I had assignments. So as I got a little more into it, and as him and I developed a friendship, and I knew there was something different about me, um, it just kind of it took a different turn, and I got into the BDSM lifestyle as a sub. So I'm a switch, everybody. I'm a switch. Just so people know, I'm a switch. I am submissive to only one. Uh, that's it. And I'm not submissive. And for the longest, I couldn't do both at the same time, but now I can. Your turn.
So,
Mine was easy.
mine's is a little dark, but it's the reason why I push kink therapy. Um, at about 19, I moved in with a boyfriend, and long story short, I was getting raped. Um, but I blamed myself for a long time because I was aroused by it and didn't understand why until there was this one time I was, and then years later, I had gone to a swingers club and I met a Dom and he introduced me to some things in kink. And I was aroused again. And these were things that I thought were strange and kind of weird. And this was before I got fully into BDSM as a whole. It was the kink of it all. He restrained me. Everything that had been done to me in the bad situation, he did to me with consent and permission. And it clicked for me that the reason why I had the feelings that I had in the non-consensual situation, it was my body's response to something that it actually craved, even though it was a situation I didn't want. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So it made me want to dive more into kinks and how it connects to our mental and our physical and our intimacy. So that's how I got into kink, because I started studying it for myself to figure out my connections.
Lorenzo said, "Do you two use ball gags to muffle the screams or to add the sensation to your victim?"
Only if they ask me to, because it's not something I keep in my bag.
I use ball gags to keep them quiet.
I don't need them quiet. I want them to make the. That's the thing for me. I like the screams.
Yeah, I don't. Well, I do, but I don't. I do. I like to hear that they can't really scream. That's my sadistic side of me.
Yeah.
I like to hear them like, "Oh, yeah, nobody can hear you."
I think for me, because I'm more of a
I do, and I do use breathable and non-breathable. So
I
just
think for
depends
me,
on.
because I'm more of a sensual sadist, I don't really get screams out of my victims, as he called them. I get moans. I tend to get more sexual pleasure out of them. Even though I'm causing them pain, it tends to make their dicks hard.
Have you ever had to call 911 during one of your
No,
sessions? No. Thank God I'm a health education major and I do know CPR. But
I know
I have
CPR too, but no, I've never.
never had to do, and never had to use CPR, and never had
Yeah,
to, never had to call 911. Knock on wood. Safe space. Try to have a safe space.
at all times, I'm all about cons- safe consensual kink.
Hmm. Anyone else?
I know it's other people watching. Come on now, y'all. Ask us some questions.
Yeah, because pretty soon this will be over and you guys won't be able to. And then you'll want to ask, no, no, no. You had your chance, you blew it. You only
My
got
eyebrows look really good. I'm sorry. I just had a moment.
so silly. Ooh, my hair is growing out. It's hot.
I've
Uh,
never done blood play on anybody else. I love blood play on me though. I just haven't been able to find a top that I trust to do blood play on me. I actually have my knife that I want to use for wax play. I purposely have not dulled it yet because I want somebody to cut me with it. But yes, I've cooled my body down before blood play. I've only done it twice.
Not my kink. Robert said, I'm trying to figure out how to start doing a munch in Barbados. Any tips?
Find the kink. First, you got to find the kink community in Barbados.
Go out to FetLife,
Yep.
FETLIFE.com. They
Blood play, Robert, is like bloodletting, but you need the body cooled down because you want it to run thick and not thin so that they don't bleed out.
great questions. Great
The
question.
vampire in me loves blood play. I don't know why.
I got a question for you. Have you ever had a man eat you out during your period?
I sure have.
Me too.
I love a man that's not afraid to get his wings.
I'm just saying. Okay, there was a good one. Okay. Um,
Mm.
I don't have a period anymore, so I ain't gotta worry about
Me
that.
neither.
I'm
I had a
just saying.
hysterectomy 3 years ago. I'm done.
I'm like, whatever.
That hysterectomy kept me from ever being able to use that excuse again. I swear I hate that. That's my I can't say
That's
I'm
your
on my cycle
go-to.
no more. Shoot, I make it known I can't have no more babies.
And that's your go-to. Damn it.
I can't even lie because shoot, I don't know what men I haven't told that I can't have babies.
Have you ever Have you ever pegged someone? Yes.
Yep. The fact that we both answered at the same time.
Yes.
Yes, but I will say for me, once I've done it, there's no flipping. It's an energy, it's a power exchange. Once I've done that version of a power exchange, I can't switch and let you power exchange back on me. So, still the same concept. If we've ever been intimate and you've ever penetrated me, I won't peg because we've already exchanged. I've already submitted sexually. I used to be a cutter, Lorenzo.
Mm, 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 mm. Anything else?
These questions got me twerking in the background.
Yeah. How do I know?
My hard limits are pee, scat, and anal.
I know you're waiting on mine. I've learned to keep an open mind
Mm, those are
because
my only
what I
three hard limits ever.
I have water played before. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
scat. I can say that I won't scat probably, but golden shower, I've had that done. Oh, that's how it's marked with my first dom.
Mm,
Um, yeah, there's just, I mean, I guess for me, because it is about intimacy. It just depends. Some people might talk me into something I would never do with somebody else. It's a trust factor.
I think for me, what turned me off on ever possibly thinking about it was that somebody asked me to do it to pee in a cup so he can drink it, and that
Yeah.
just turned me off.
I guess for me, I guess if I had to say a couple of the hard no's I would have for me as a dominant, I'm not stepping on your throat and I'm not stepping on your balls. I'm not doing it.
Lorenzo said, "Did you peg more males or females?" Um, I've,
Males.
I've penetrated more females than males,
Males.
but that is solely because the males that have asked me at some point we were intimate, and I had to ask them, "Do you ever plan on being intimate with me again? Do you ever plan on fucking me again?" And they said, "I want to," so I didn't because I'm not. Once we reverse that power exchange, there's no going back.
Mm, 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 mm.
Y'all are quiet. The fact that we're only getting questions from them,
I
where's
only see
everybody else at?
I only see two folk on, so
Ah, okay, that might be it then.
we had more, but I think they came in and left.
This little dog out here is about to get on my nerves. I'm about to throw him against the wall.
Oh my.
He keep running in and out my room. He was jumping all in my lap at the beginning.
What haven't you tried that you desire to do?
Hmm.
I want to learn and do fire for sure. I know fire because I actually I'm good friends with fire because I used to actually twirl fire batons.
Speaking of fire batons, I found this dope fire fire fan.
Hmm.
I'm gonna learn how to use it for for presentations.
So I can twirl anything. I can twirl the fire sticks and all that good stuff. I can do all of that. But
Lorenzo, do you just mean in general or specifically sexually?
yeah, I twirled three of them at one time. That's
Girl, you was trying to catch the whole stadium on fire.
mm-mm, mm-mm. I twirled one, two, and three batons. So I twirled one, two, and three fire. Yep.
So while I'm waiting on Lorenzo to answer that, I'm just gonna go ahead and answer in BDSM. Oh, the one thing I haven't tried yet, um, as a bottom, I want to try vacuum cube. As a top, I want to I want to get better at fire. I'm comfortable with fire, but there's some more things that I want to learn about fire. Um and get more adventurous with the types of knives I use in wax removal. I want to get more into knife play. I love knives. So I definitely want to get more trained and more into knife play, and then more well versed in fire. I have become a little interested also in needle play, but I don't know yet because it's not even something that I'm willing to have done to myself. It's not something that I'm into for myself, and I usually don't learn how to do things on other people that I won't have done on me. If that makes sense, kind of like a tattoo artist with no tattoos type of thing.
Good questions, guys. Thank
I
you.
appreciate you guys so much.
Thank you. So we're gonna wrap it up though for tonight. We'll give you guys each like one more question and then we're gonna get out of here. Once again, while you guys are thinking of those questions, we just ask that you keep our sister, erotic sis, Miss Siren, in your prayers. Her husband has had to go through. He has was diagnosed with four aneurysms in his brain. He's had two successfully removed. There will do another surgery in 2 weeks. So please keep her in your prayers, her and her family, her children, and Michael as he recovers. Then next Monday, like we said, we have a very special guest. We're gonna can't fill her spot, but we are going to have on the show a few special guests joining us over the next several weeks. And our first is going to be the goddess herself, Miss Casey Carter, will be in the house joining us from Atlanta, Georgia. And you guys don't want to miss that. That's going to be fun, definitely. And oh, guess what? Got another reservation. Let me go check this one out. Hold on.
You
We
are so silly. That's four. You ain't gonna have the time to take no regular rides tomorrow.
that's okay. It's good money. 6:45. Got to be on it at that time. We good. So, all right, guys. Well, it has been a pleasure.
Favorite turn ons.
Favorite turn-ons.
Feet massages, neck kisses, booty rubs, um, physical touch in general. but intimate physical touch. Like not but not to my like body parts. Like to, open places. I bet you are taking notes, Mr. Gibson.
Um,
I like
favorite
my toes sucked too.
my favorite turn-ons are I love to dance. That to me is a turn on. Cooking together, that's a turn on. Um, just I'm pretty. I guess I'm an old romantic, so that would be me. That would be a turn on for me.
You know what a big turn on is for me, but most people don't see it as one. Um, a debate about political views. It
Huh.
shows the intelligence of a man.
He said,
Um,
"Toe sucking. Let me get some ice."
actually, just intellectual conversation in general.
Making nice that I
The rice.
miss.
He didn't get no rice.
Making rice that I miss that he. You know what? If I could figure out a way to mail you some rice.
She gonna try to overnight ship it to you, Lorenzo.
Next time you in Cleveland, Lorenzo, I'll make you some rice. How about that? How about that?
He needs to come to Indy. I need to see my Casey.
And on that note, y'all, we're gonna get out of here. We're gonna get out of here. I got four reservations in the morning already. So whew, loving it.
Get your
Yay.
ass out my clothes.
And so on that note, crazy ass down below me. You guys make sure you come back and join us next Monday night for another marvelous Monday here on JewCee Tales Erotic Chat. Oh my goodness, we're gonna have the goddess herself in the house. Ms. Casey Carter will be joining us. Make sure you tune in 9:30 p.m. for our folks on the East Coast and in our Barbados. 8:30 Central Standard and 6:30 for our folks out on the West Coast. Remember, enjoy, enlighten, and embrace eroticism. Please keep Miss Siren and her family in your prayers. Please uplift them. And for my beautiful co-host, Miss Purple Rain, and myself, you all have a great week, okay? We will talk to you next Monday night. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye,
Bye,
everybody.
everybody. Thank you.